I just got home from a day of teaching and I was going to rest and relax for an hour or so, but the news never stops. There's actually two big events that are happening. The first one is that it looks like Elon Musk might be re-offering his original offer of $54.20 per share, or about $44 billion to purchase Twitter at the original price. And the second one is that Tesla is getting rid of its final crutch in Tesla Vision. Let's take a look. Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. So this first one is from CNN Business. In major reversal, Elon Musk again proposes buying Twitter at full price. So if we look here, let me make this a little bit bigger and actually move it over a little bit so you can see it better. Elon Musk sent a letter to Twitter proposing to follow through with his deal to buy the company at the originally agreed upon price of $54.20 per share, according to a securities filing on Tuesday. Musk said he would proceed with the acquisition on the original terms pending receipt of the debt financing for the deal, and provided the Delaware Chancery Court stay the litigation proceedings over his initial attempt to pull out of the deal and adjourn the upcoming trial over the dispute. So clearly Elon Musk is not really relishing the deposition that he is supposed to start, I believe, on Thursday. I think it's the 6th and 7th that are the days that are set aside from that. Clearly, he's not really excited about that. And so he would much rather just go ahead and purchase the company. You know, you could argue that he's being a little wishy-washy in his decision, but I think it's fairly obvious that he has always wanted to purchase Twitter. He just felt like he was getting kind of screwed in the deal. And probably what happened was, after a while, his lawyers talked to him about the case and what the situation was going to be like and how he would probably lose anyway. Because remember, you know, the court of law, at least in the United States, isn't so much about who's right and wrong, but who follows the letter of the law. And I think the big mistake that Elon Musk made personally was that he gave up the right to do diligence as part of the deal. You know, if he hadn't done that, he could have said he did his due diligence. He discovered that the bot problem was substantially larger than he thought, and that he could then back out of the deal. But since he gave up that right in the original contract, that sort of put him on the hook to purchase the company. So I think partly it's, you know, the original reason why he wanted to back out, and not back out, but he wanted to renegotiate and think about a different price, was because of the fact that it looked like the bot situation was way worse than he thought. But now that it's coming down to it, you know, it could go on. He could very, very easily lose this court battle and be forced to purchase anyway, and have to go through a lot of very painful stuff in the meantime. And ultimately, he's hurting Twitter by all of this too, right? So all of these negative tweets about Twitter and all of this negative coverage and things that could go to court and be exposed to the public, all of that stuff, ultimately, if Elon Musk buys the company, is not good for Elon Musk. So he probably, you know, in negotiation with his lawyers, probably thought about that. I have to say that when I saw him, you know, not that I know the guy personally, but I'd seen him at the Tesla shareholders meeting back in August, and he was in an incredibly good mood, very happy, seemed to be, you know, really taking life, you know, drinking it to the dregs or something. And now in the AI day, he was much more low key and a little bit, I don't know, agitated, I guess would be the way I would put it, from an external point of view or an external observer. So it seemed to me like he was not in as good a mood, and probably this whole Twitter thing is part of it. And, you know, he has the money to be able to make this happen and not really have to worry about it hurting his finances or making him go broke. So even if it's a losing proposition, he probably just figured at this point, for his mental well-being, if nothing else, it would be a good thing. And he ultimately does want Twitter because he does want to support free speech and create a platform. And over the next 5 to 10 years, there's a good possibility that he could turn Twitter around and turn it into something like his original idea for PayPal, which was to make an entire ecosystem, an economic ecosystem, a social media platform, a news platform, all of those kind of things wrapped into one. So we'll see what happens. It would be weird if Twitter did not accept this deal and wanted to go to court anyway. I think for Twitter's sake, it would be very much better for them to just go ahead and take this instead of spending the money and the time and the exposure to go to court. So more than likely, this will actually go through. Okay, so now let's turn to this, which is very cool. I've actually been thinking about this for a while myself. So this is from Tesla. As far as I know, this is today. It's not dated, but Zach on Twitter posted this just a few minutes ago. And thank you, Zach, for doing this because I wouldn't have seen it otherwise. Anyway, Tesla Vision update, replacing ultrasonic sensors with Tesla Vision. So let's see if I can find this ultrasonic sensor car. Let's see if I can find a picture of something along these lines. So, yeah, these are all okay. Well, this is probably the best picture here. Sorry, it's not the most particularly large picture in the world, and who knows if it's actually going to decide to load. There we go. But anyway, what you can see here is the little cutouts on the back all around the car. I think there's 12 of them on a Tesla, if I'm remembering properly. Yeah, so unfortunately that image is not the one I was looking for. But anyway, it's these little guys. They're little cutouts, and then the radar is behind other parts, but the cutouts are for the ultrasonics. So they're little tiny pucks, like about yay big, about the size of a coin or something. So anyway, what do? They're not used particularly much at high-speed travel. The time that I see them at high-speed travel is when you're next to a wall, like you're driving along on the highway and there's like a concrete barrier, and you'll see these little orange and red things start to pop up, which indicates that you're not very far away from the wall. Or if an automobile is on the other side, it'll pop up and you'll see these little orange indicators that show that it's not that it's not very far away. It's within, I think the maximum range might be like a meter or something. It's not that far. Usually I have it in inches on my car. So it's like, it starts to usually show up when I pull into my garage at somewhere around 36 inches ish. So I think it's about a meter away. And as you get closer to an object, it really is helpful when you're parking, because of course it says, here we go. You're now like 10 inches away from whatever it is that you might smash into. So you should probably stop at this point. So the deal with this is that this is, again, if I'm remembering correctly, there's 12 of these around the car. So they're all around the car. So you're getting rid of 12 parts. None of them are very expensive, of course, but it is 12 parts. It's also 12 little holes you have to cut in the vehicle. It's all the wiring, it's all the support. All of that stuff has to be, manufactured. So you're cutting out a bunch of processes. More than the cost of the part, the cost of the processes is going to go away. So that's number one benefit. Number two benefit is there could be times, even though it's not particularly used, where you could have sensor fusion issues. Most of the time, this is ultrasonics is ultra low speed kind of stuff. So I guess it's sending out sound waves, but it's really only useful when you're relatively still compared to the other object, which is why going by a concrete barrier, it's bouncing off stuff off of the concrete barrier, and it's giving you a decent sense. So it's kind of akin to radar. It's just a very, very short range radar. So anyway, it uses sound waves. There's a bunch of them around the car. It's useful for low speed type of environments, which either means that you're next to something driving at the same speed, or you're parking or something along those lines. So it can be very useful then, and pretty much every modern vehicle has ultrasonics. So, I feel a little bit like when you get Apple and, they got rid of like the headphone on the bottom of this, they're like, no more headphone on the bottom of our phones. It's sort of like what Tesla's doing here is they're saying like, no more, we don't need this anymore. Our vision support is so good that we actually can get away with only using vision, and we don't need these ultrasonic sensors anymore. And that is a pretty major statement on Tesla's part. I'm going to do a video, hopefully to release tomorrow, on the subject, which is why I think they can do this. So stay tuned for that. It's coming. If I can get it out tonight, it's going to come out tomorrow. Anyway, it's really interesting why they can do this, I think, technically. But anyway, let's go ahead and read this article. I haven't even read it myself, so let's go ahead and read it together. All right, safety is at the core of our design, yes, and engineering decisions. In 2021, we began our transition to Tesla Vision by removing radar from Model 3 and Model Y, followed by Model S and Model X in 2022. I did not know they've actually removed the radar from those versions of the vehicle as well. Interesting. Today, in most regions around the globe, these vehicles now rely on Tesla Vision, our camera-based autopilot system, which we all know and love at this point. I actually talked about that after Tesla's AI Day. We drove up over the mountains to Santa Cruz and then down 17-mile drive and down to Big Sur along Pacific Coast Highway. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Very, very windy roads. I wasn't using the FSD beta, but I was using the vehicle itself with its standard lane keeping, and it kept the lane perfectly well. No radar needed. So it was using vision entirely for that. Okay, continuing on. Since launch, we have continued to make incremental improvements in both feature parity and safety. So in other words, they're matching what was originally there without radar. Compared to radar-equipped vehicles, Model 3 and Model Y with Tesla Vision have either maintained or improved their active safety ratings in the US and Europe and performed better in pedestrian automatic emergency braking intervention. So I guess take that, Greenwood Software, right? Is that the name of it? Whatever, the Dawn Project, anyway, Dan O'Dowd. But he, did that whole staged video about how they were colliding with pedestrians when it was obviously completely staged. Anyway, so you can tell they've got data that actually does better with pedestrian collisions than radar. And that makes sense because human beings are relatively small and radar is pretty coarse, so it could easily miss a human being. Today, we are taking the next step in Tesla Vision by removing ultrasonic sensors, USS, from Model 3 and Model Y. We will continue this rollout with Model 3 and Model Y globally over the next few months, followed by Model S and Model X in 2023. So the way you'll be able to tell this, it'll be really easy. If those little cutout circles are not on the vehicle, that means that there is no more ultrasonic sensors. So it is quite possible that these cars are already built, right? Because Tesla's always doing this stuff. They may be being shipped right now to consumers. So if anybody actually gets a Model 3 or Model Y in the next week or two, please do contact me and let me know if you don't see those little cutout pucks around the outside of the vehicle, because that'd be really cool to actually see one that doesn't have one of these at this point. All right, along with removal of USS, we have simultaneously launched our vision-based occupancy network, currently used in full self-driving beta, to replace the inputs generated by USS. With today's software, this approach gives autopilot high-definition spatial positioning, longer-range visibility, and the ability to identify and differentiate between objects. Notice that it says occupancy network. I'm going to do a video on that, like I said, tomorrow. As with many Tesla features, our occupancy network will continue to improve rapidly over time. For a short period of time during this transition, Tesla vehicles that are not equipped with USS will be delivered with some features temporarily limited or inactive. Interesting, including Park Assist. Alerts you of surrounding objects when the vehicle is traveling under 5 miles an hour. So that's that basic idea of, like, if you're backing up or going forward and you get really close to something, it goes like beep and it says, please stop. Auto Park automatically maneuvers into parallel or perpendicular parking spaces. That's kind of a shame, but Elon Musk also definitely talked about the fact that they were going to do a better auto summon, auto park feature. So this is probably exactly what he's talking about. So the next rollouts of software will compensate for this stuff very, very rapidly. Summon manually moves your vehicle forward or reverse via the Tesla app. Smart Summon navigates your vehicle to your location or location of your choice via the Tesla app. So that's exactly the kind of stuff that Elon Musk was talking about doing a better job of. He called it like truly smart summon. So clearly these things are all integrated together. The fact that they're getting rid of ultrasonic sensors at the same time that they're building in new software, that clearly the new software is good enough at this point that they're almost ready to release it. And so therefore, they're just temporarily disabling this for vehicles that don't have ultrasonic sensors, but they'll re-enable it. And then what should happen is that even those of us with ultrasonic sensors like me in the vehicles won't use them anymore. Just like I have a radar system in my vehicle, but the car doesn't use it, it won't use the ultrasonic sensors anymore. All right. So in the near future, once these features achieve performance parity to today's vehicles, near future, hopefully matter of weeks, not months, they will be restored via a series of over-the-air software updates. All other available autopilot, enhanced autopilot, and full self-driving capability features will be active at delivery, depending on order configuration. Given the incremental improvements already achieved with Tesla Vision and our roadmap for future autopilot improvements and abilities, we are confident this is the best strategy for the future of autopilot and the safety of our customers. Then we have some FAQs. How do I know my vehicle is equipped with ultrasonic sensors? No longer built when instead relying. Well, it doesn't say, okay, let's see. It says North America, Europe. So actually early October. So I guess that's it. Basically just look at your car. If it has the little circles around it, it's got ultrasonic sensors. Maybe at the beginning, they might not have different blanks. And so they might still have that. But the likelihood is that if you order the vehicle and it's manufactured after the next week or so, and it's in North America, Europe, Middle East, or Taiwan, you won't see those anymore. more. So anyway, very interesting. Let's see. The 12 sensors can be found on the front and rear bumpers of your vehicles. Yeah, I was right. 12 sensors. So anyway, it does look like when they don't have it anymore, they're not going to bother creating those little holes anymore. So your outside, your bumpers will look very, very smooth and nice, and they won't have those little holes in them anymore. So that's awesome. Okay, next question. Does the transition to Tesla Vision without ultrasonic sensors affect Model 3 and Model Y safety ratings for vehicles delivered at this point? Short answer, no. The transition does not affect crash safety ratings. Vehicles equipped with this retain the same crash safety ratings as vehicles equipped with Vision plus radar plus USS. So basically, they must have been doing testing on this either internally or giving it to NHTSA or other regulatory bodies to make sure that they had the same safety ratings. So that's very cool. Will vehicles equipped with ultrasonic sensors have their functionality removed? At this time, we do not plan to remove the functionality of ultrasonic sensors in our existing fleet. That's interesting. I would expect that they would, but maybe it'll take them 6 months or something like that. And then does the transition affect the availability of some features on vehicles delivered? And then they talk about basically what they said up here, that these things are not going to be there. So this is actually hugely bullish news. I kind of can't overstate how amazing this is. So everybody's been saying since Tesla said they were getting rid of radar, they're like, oh, this is a fool's errand. It's a boondoggle. You should put radar back in. Tesla will put radar back in. They need radar. Everybody's going to eventually have radar. Tesla's going to apologize for this and have to retrofit cars and a bunch of other things that people have been saying. What this is telling me is not only do they not need radar, and they're like, yep, we got this. It also means that they feel like the vision system is accurate and good enough that they don't even need to have these very, very close range, slow speed ultrasonic sensors anymore. So this is amazingly bullish news. I hope people understand that. And it definitely has to do with occupancy networks. And I'm definitely doing a video on that. I was debating between 2 different videos for tomorrow. So now I know which one's coming tomorrow. So stay tuned for that video tomorrow. In the meantime, thank you all so much for liking and subscribing, and to my Patreon patrons for being my patrons and supporting this work. And check out the merch store if you want to support the channel with some t-shirts and things, and solar roof, power wall, Amazon stuff, all that's in the description. I will see everybody tomorrow. Bye-bye.